We're approaching that time of the year where people are struggling for FM save ideas, ones to keep them excited until the release of the next edition of Football Manager. So while you're patiently waiting for the next betas out announcement, why not give a different style of play a try to keep you invested? In today's episode of Top 3s, I'm going to give you my top 3 game challenges to try that might help you rediscover that love for FM late in the year. If you like the sound of that, then do add a thumbs up to the video and check out my Top 3s playlist in the eye above. But without further ado, let's check out number 3. And we start with the Director of Football Challenge, the head coach. Let's be honest, this is probably the most familiar of the 3 game modes here, and look, I was never going to make a video without this suggestion, was I? Of course, if you're a Load FM regular watching this right now, you'll know this game style forms my main long-term story every single year here on the channel. If you've not been here before, you can find the latest edition from FM22 up in the eye above. The Director of Football model is a well-known challenge and something we love on this channel. It involves handing all responsibilities relating to transfers, contracts and staffing over to a Director of Football, or to your chairman until they've hired one, depending on which club you start with. You can watch the chaos unfold from that point on and get ready to deal with an imbalanced squad, excruciating transfer deadline days of which we've experienced plenty over the years, and you've got to learn to become very flexible tactically if you want to have any success in this challenge. Your chances are a lottery depending on the aptitude of the Director of Football, and you'll love the added bonus of getting blamed for things you're not responsible for. To ramp up the difficulty and sample the most chaotic scenes, I'd recommend starting with no coaching badges, limited experience and a low reputation club. You get to see the very essence of what the head coach is about, or you can pick a club where Chris Casper is Director of Football. I've found that's worked quite well over the years too. The great thing about this style is you can do it as both a one club save or a journeyman style save, so it does suit either type of manager depending on which you prefer. And as some of our regulars have pointed out in the comments, I won't take any credit for this whatsoever, you could also completely flip this challenge. You could set the team, training and tactical stuff to your assistant and just be the Director of Football yourself. You'll be one of those nosy, hated ones who also gets to be a fly on the wall in the dugout during match days. But for us, we're focusing on the head coach model, where we've got to suffer with that Director of Football. So let's head over to FM and see how we apply it in practice. So first things first, when you join a club, if they haven't already got a Director of Football, you need to go to step 1. That is, to go to staffing here. Staff responsibilities, you'll see hiring and firing of the Director of Football and Technical Director. Set them to the director, chairman, whoever the individual person is who's in charge of it. Just pick the most senior ones, which here at Norwich is Delia Smith, of course, a well-known name. And once they hire a Director of Football, which they will do pretty quickly, then you can set all of the other staff ones here, all of the contractual ones and all of the transfer ones, all to the Director of Football. You have nothing to do with it. That makes you a head coach working under a Director of Football, and it's something that's becoming more and more frequent in the modern game. Of course, in FM22 you can choose to have your little bit of influence in transfers, you can have your say in the recruitment meetings, you can have your say in the staffing meetings, but overall you have no say in what's going on. So even though we've started with my personal favourite, I've only put it at number 3. It was the most common one, so let's move on to what's next as we head in to the top 2. And in second place is a save that I really like, but it actually requires a little bit more work. So this one is for those of you that like to play the game in detail and like to have something in particular to focus on during your save. But one of the most regular debates about FM, certainly in terms of the transfer market, is what level of players are willing to join your club and how realistic is it? Well, instead of having that big debate and getting into an argument, the FM Reputation Challenge, well, it just completely resolves that problem. In this save, you can only sign players that have a lower reputation than the club you're managing. Now this sounds a little bit too easy on paper, but I assure you it's more difficult than it sounds. It's also adjustable too, if you want to make it more difficult or a little bit simpler. So firstly, let's get the other bits out the way. You can filter the player search and scouted players by reputation, so it's not as time consuming as you might think initially on a recruitment level. The difficulty though comes in building a club, as your club's reputation is partly influenced by the prestige and the value of the players you've got at your club. And of course, high profile names means headlines, and that often leads to the players' club being talked about. Without high profile names, will you be able to achieve enough success to help the club grow at the same rate? And will you be able to manage the challenge as a whole? Because it's not just about the players you're signing, is it? You must take the same action for any players you inherit with a reputation that equals or surpasses the club, and even those that achieve it whilst they're at the club. So it is something you've got to keep an eye on. Particularly players who get a first international cap, they're quite often going to have a quick bounce in reputation, and that's something you're going to have to manage and think about selling them the very next transfer window. Of course, it is an adjustable challenge. You can amend how far or below a club's reputation you're happy for a player to be. You can make it easier by saying, well, actually, it doesn't matter if they've got an equal reputation. We're only going to stop them joining if they've got a higher one. In reverse, you could say, actually, I want them to have a full-star reputation less to be able to play for my club. This is what we call expert mode. But let's head over to FM and see how we find the pieces of the jigsaw we're going to need to complete this challenge. We've taken on the Norwich job here, as we did a moment ago for number 3. In the club info screen, we can see that from the general info, this is a 3-star reputation club. If we head over to our squad, we want to stay up in the Premier League first season. Well, we're going to have to do it without Teemu Pukki, the star goal scorer up front. He's got a 3-star world reputation. He matches the club. He has to go. So Teemu Pukki, under our rules, would have to be sold. Let's say we had a great start to the season. Max Aarons goes in and makes his senior England debut. He'll get 1 cap, probably go up to a 3-star reputation. As we keep our eye on that, the very next transfer window, we have to then sell him and move him on. It also affects new signings, of course, too. If we head over to the scouting screen, and we'll just go to the player search as an example here. Anyone we might be able to get in, let's look at anyone that would be willing to sign. And I've put them in world reputation order. Any of these players at the top here, we cannot sign. They're 3-star reputation. And if we go up towards the top, you can see Norwich's pool. You're looking at what sort of strikers could we replace Teemu Pukki with? Could we go and get Mitrovic, one of the star strikers in the Championship? No, he's an international. He's a 3-star reputation player. Could we get John Obi Mikelin on a free? Could we get Sander Berger from the Championship? Could we bring in Alfredo Morelos from Rangers? What about Diego Costa? No, they're all 3-star reputation. And that means we're going to be incredibly restricted on the level of players we're going to bring in. It's going to make the scouts do a lot more work. It's going to make things a lot more difficult. And over time, it does present quite an interesting challenge. If you go down and look at how many are 2.5-star reputation as well, you can really up the ante by making sure that player reputations are a full star below. If you do that, you're on expert mode essentially. Good luck if you want to try that one. So a quite labour intensive one, but let's move on to number 1, which is a slightly simpler challenge to maintain. And top of the tree is the Pensioners Club Challenge. My top suggestion, and it's actually inspired by one of the most talked about challenges in Football Manager history. And I'm of course talking about the Youth Academy Challenge. Over the years, it's led to FM players chasing the next list of cheap wonder kids that they can sign in time to be homegrown at the club, and disposing of any player as soon as they even think about reaching their peak and sprouting the first grey hair in their beard. So to combat this issue in the FM world of everyone wanting to sign young players, let's do the complete opposite challenge. How about creating a legend squad of all over 30s? You've got to try and manage their fitness, their fatigue, and even later down the line, their eventual and pretty much inevitable decline. As well as making you more careful with tactical styles and with training management, it also leads to more wheeling and dealing in a transfer market, as you're regularly forced to overhaul the squad and look for the best of the so-called has-beens of the footballing world. It makes for fun on that front, as well as putting an emphasis on the selling side too, as you fight to sell your top academy players each year to fund the wage bill of your next established pro through the door. And all of these factors make it the perfect challenge for me, because what you want in a challenge is something you don't want to do, something that you're going to find difficult. And every FM instinct you've ever had will normally make you want to take the complete opposite action at every turn in this save. And it certainly leads to you having a very different style of squad you'd normally have, and the high turnover of work keeps you invested and normally keeps you interested too. If we take the example of this Norwich squad we've joined and put them in age order, actually ironically now, Teemu Pukki's one of the only ones we'd be able to keep. Now, when you're starting at a new club, it's very hard to do initially, so you probably want to be fair and give yourself a year perhaps to make it happen, because you're not realistically going to be able to sell everyone in the bottom 3/4 of that list straight away. And you're obviously not going to be able to build a squad from having only 4 players immediately, because a lot of sides do build young teams, and it does depend who you're managing to an extent. When you're in non-league, when you're in the sort of lower leagues and lower reputation divisions, it can be really easy to do, because you see it quite often with the AI sides. They build legends teams essentially when you're playing in Europe, in minnow nations. So it's not something that's impossible, but it's definitely something that takes a little bit of time to introduce, particularly if you've got a young squad like we have here at Norwich. So those are my top 3 must-try Football Manager challenges. Have you tried any of them before? If so, let me know down in the comments and tell me how you fared in the ones that you did try. Also, let me know your favourite niche Football Manager challenges, as well as your old regular favourites. If you enjoyed this episode of Top 3s, then please do add a thumbs up. You can find the rest of this playlist and my FM22 head coach story up in the eye above. Subscribe and turn that notification bell on to stay up to date with daily FM22 content, as well as new weekly videos from this Top 3 series. I'll put my current story playlist next to my head now, and you'll see me back here soon. Thanks for watching.